clearer that everything happened. And I think the way they could have done that is that they could have made it clear. I believe that Kate and Sawyer and Claire made it off the island. I think that Lapidus took that plane off, and I think that Jack, it's the last thing that he sees before Vincent comes to lay down with him. And he sees the plane going over, and he's happy because he realizes that they're going, and his sacrifice meant something because they were able to get away.
It's his destiny.
Right. And so I believe that they could have like saved this whole thing and not gone to that whole metaphysical realm too soon. Instead, if they had, during any one or any of the flashbacks of Claire, Sawyer, or Kate, if you could have seen them having all the flashbacks of the island and then having flashbacks of getting married and raising their kids and getting old, you would have known that all that happened and that they moved on. Because once they were in the church and once they're at the very end, okay, where Hurley and Ben have their interaction, and Hurley says, you know, you were great number 2, and Ben says, well, you were great number 1, because the cup was passed to him and he became the protector of the island. We don't know how long he was the protector of the island. Maybe he was the protector of the island for thousands of years and Ben was his second.
Yep.
So we don't know that, because as Christian Shepherd said, there's no now here. Okay, so we now know that alternate timeline land is actually the sort of like the holding room. But what I was hoping for was not that it was limbo. What I was hoping for was that it was not an alternate universe, but it was an alternate timeline, and that they were merging, and that that idea of free will and free choice was going to carry through in that episode, and they were going to end up making a final choice, each one of them. And those that made the choice to let go of all of their control issues, all of their isolation, all of their pain, all of their, you know, issues, and those who wanted to reach out and accept love, accept help, accept that they were not an island, each one of them. If all of those who made the choice to move on in that way had ended up in Sideways timeline, that would have been science fiction-y and cool. And if everybody who hadn't made that choice ended up at the bottom of the ocean when the island sinks, that would have been science fiction-y and cool, okay? That would have been the two timelines merging. That would have been carrying across the idea that there can only be one, you know, and Crisis on Infinite Earths, the multiverse, you know, it's like shattering, and it's got to come together, and there can only be one timeline, you know, and so they merge together, and they make, you know, they make a congruous and a coherent whole. And so that was kind of where I was hoping that they went, but they didn't. And so I was really disappointed, because I felt like it was lazy and sloppy, and it expected us to just say, oh, well, it's okay that the numbers didn't really mean anything. I mean, I know that there was a number assigned to each of the candidates, and that they corresponded with those, you know. But that... you know, it was like none of it really mattered. With the Dharma Initiative and all that stuff, it was like we're watching it all this time and we're all involved in all that stuff, and they're like, yeah, but that didn't matter. What really mattered was the characters. That's not cool. That's not fair. Why build up this whole intricate mythos if you're just going to leave it laying there at the end of everything and say, well, that's good enough for them? You know,
that's...
So I was kind of irritated by the very, very ending. But lots of stuff to love. I loved Vincent coming to Matthew. I loved Vincent coming to Jack in the jungle and laying down with him. And it's a little bit heavy-handed on the symbolism, but Jack finally at peace with Dog. You know what I mean? Little heavy-handed there, guys. Yeah, you know, I mean, to me, I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
God's my best friend, you know, so... You know, so I loved that, and I thought that there was a great sense of peace with that, and I was happy that Jack didn't die alone and all that kind of stuff.
So, well, my take on the show is somewhat familiar to Gail's, or similar to Gail's. I'll try and make this as quick as possible.
You're going to have to edit mine into 3 different episodes, sorry. But there was a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
This was after talking to a lot of different people today, and so, you know, digesting and stuff.
I didn't get to have a chance. I slept until 12:30.
Oh,
But,
I hate him.
yeah, some people work.
I work.
Anyway, so,
Just out of this.
But
What
I'm,
did
I'm a very literal person, so I like to take things at face value, read it literally, and absorb it that way. And what I got from the show is, like Gail, I believe that they did not die on the plane crash. Personally, I believe that, in the end, when Christian Shepherd was talking to them about the holding room, that whole universe, that alternate timeline, I do believe firmly that it was created by the events of the hydrogen bomb and the magnetic field in which created, and everyone on the island was given an alternate reality, but they maintained metaphysical properties because of the island. They were all exposed to the magnetic radiation, the phenomenons, the unexplained things, and these magnetic or metaphysical properties enabled the events of them being able to capture their lives in the alternate reality with the help of Desmond, who has
He was the constant.
Yeah, he was the constant.
So he was the one who was immune to all of the effects of the...
I believe that everything Jacob did, that light, the cork, you notice in the show the cork was taken off long enough for the smoke monster to be destroyed. I believe that was Jack's destiny to destroy the smoke monster in the time given to pop that cork, kill the smoke monster, go back down there and cork it back up.
Right.
And his sacrifice. I do believe that in this alternate reality, I believe that everyone got together at church. It only became, I believe it is an actual reality. That I don't believe it's purgatory. I don't believe that it's it's going to go away once the white light door opens at the end. I believe that when they created that alternate reality with the island, that's just going to keep on existing. But again, I go back to the point that everyone who was there was exposed to all the metaphysical properties by that explosion, which, Desmond being the constant. Once they became aware of the fact that they lived lives, alternate lives, and they've died in that alternate dimension to them, then knowing that, they almost become enlightened and are able to use their metaphysical properties, I love using that word, to use those properties and escape that dimension, escape that reality.